Welcome back, everybody, at Cab Rugby TV. We're talking club rugby. It's all systems go. There's a few more days left before the first games are out. Dave Kagan, president of Hamilton's Rugby Football Club. Dave, you've been in the game a long time. Your feeling on the standard over the... I know what you're going to say, but it has just Super League C, Super League B, Super League A. It's a different world now.
Absolutely. And JP, when you see who's coming up into Super League A,
Yeah.
I mean, it speaks for itself. And certainly, I mean, the rugby, the structures that are out there, I mean, it's improved to such an extent. I mean, you could take on, honestly, some of the professional teams, some of the teams in the Super League A could actually play against them.
But the resources, the coaching structures, if we consider where we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it's chalk and cheese. 20 years ago, it was just a question of coach would pitch up with a whistle and play a game, and that would be it. Players would hop in the back of a bucky and go play a bit of rugby.
Yeah, totally different. If you look at your coaching staff and your management, never mind just the coaching staff, even as far as a referee coming to assist you during your practices, I mean, that's the extent and the professionalism to which some clubs are going.
Well, the scary thing for me is that if I look at what you guys have done from a Hamilton's point of view, and you're the president of the club, but you've also got the chairperson of the club, to make it all work is an enormous job compared to what the needs were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Today you've got to make sure that you've got enough money, resources, everything to support the coaches, the players, the technology, the facility. It's a legacy of education actually that you need. You don't just walk in and run a club. You need to know how to make the whole machine turn.
Absolutely. And JP, the secret to everything is your committee. You get people, they get given portfolios, they perform, and at the end of the day, it's one happy family once you put all this together. Yeah. And as I've said, the people have got their portfolios and they stick to it and they do it. And it works. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, we got a target on our back, of course, this year, as we hold both the Super League A and under 20 Super League titles. So we know what we're up against this year.
But your function as president, which I think is something that isn't quite often spoken about enough, your function as president of the club, and I'm sure Alistair will jump in here as well, it's not just so much about knowing how to put the lights on and pay for the electricity. It's about keeping the harmony amongst everybody who's involved in the club. You've got to keep everybody happy. Your function as the president is very much about the well-being of relationships.
Absolutely, and I'm very proud to be able to say that at our club, especially the chairperson and myself, we work very closely together, and the rest actually fit in perfectly. Yeah. But it's done with respect for one another, and at the end of the day, it works.
So, Alistair, you're involved with the club space. I mean, I think you probably want to jump in there.
Yeah, I think the key, which Dave mentioned, is that people executing their portfolio, and then respecting one another's portfolios, and then the harmony or the merging of one another's personalities to make the ship go forward.
Yeah. So, is it not a question a little bit? And I know I'm probably veering off the topic here of looking at games, and I know Renzel wants me to start showing running rugby, but there has to be some lessons in this for us, and we don't often get to speak, excuse me, to the likes of Dave Kagan, president of arguably South Africa's most successful rugby club, to some degree. Yeah. There comes a time in every president's space that you start feeling the pressure, that you feel like, hang on, things are not going our way, the club is losing, and as a president, one is then tempted to interfere with the coach's job, or interfere. Is there a lesson in that you have to let the system work and evolve?
JP, yes, we'll never, of course, admit to anything, so you don't go and put your nose in where you shouldn't. But at the end of the day, there are subtle ways to do it. Yeah. But I've got we at the club have got a very good relationship with our coaches, especially our senior coaches. Yeah. So things are discussed.
But winning and losing comes part of the package. You live with it.
Yes, you do. You do. Yeah. You don't always go home very happy if you've lost, but at the end of the day, it's about winning and losing. And yes, it's a privilege for me to be where I am. Yeah. And I'm only the 9th president since 1875 I always say you've got to die before you get out of there.
All right, let's just. I'm assuming that that you're not the 9th president since 1875, but one of the 9. Okay, Dave, really, we're playing the numbers here today. That we're not. Well, let's take a look here, folks. This is False Bay ladies, or at least Easterfield ladies and St George's ladies rugby. Wow, there we go. Easterfield ladies against St George's ladies. First half and second half, we mixed it up a little bit for you. Renzel, you took one look there and you said, wow, look at this.
Yeah, just, what's so good for me is that it's new teams. Like St George's is also a new team.
Yeah.
I think they started last year only, fiddling with it. But this year, just looking at that team, and they've got like a Springbok playing for them. I think her name is Donnell.
Yeah.
And having caliber players like that in your team, it just builds, morale for the other ladies. But it's like Alistair said earlier, just the fundamentals of how they're passing, the offloads.
Yeah.
But okay, it's St George's, so they love that offloads and natural rugby players.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But
that's awesome.
it also looks like they're in shape, Ali.
For me, it's the participation.
Yeah.
With all these clubs getting females in, and the eagerness of female rugby to grow, or the girls to get involved with the game. I've been to sessions where of different clubs or schools, and the eagerness to learn, it's really on another level, to be honest with you.
All right, folks, quite amazing. Here's to St George's, and I must just say, big thanks to Fernando Faviers. Fernando has done an incredible job this week, folks, to get us some footage, especially from the Helderberg Basin. So great stuff, and of course to Akaline as well, our producer here at Cape Rugby TV, for sending in so much content. When we come back after the break, we're going to take a look at some action between Rocklands and Titans, and we've also got St George's up against Strand. Don't forget, of course, your Score energy drink competition coming up. We'll give you an opportunity to spot the ball if we do that again this week, and we'll see who wins last week's case of Score. Back in a sec.